Hello friend, Jim here with JB's Big Adventure coming to you from Lake Chapala, Mexico. In this video, what I'm doing is I'm really shifting some gears of what I've done in the last few videos. And what I'm talking about is the crime that's taking place in our world. Specifically, the crime that takes place in Mexico, the United States, or even Canada. Now, when the shootings took place at Uvalde, I got to tell you, I've been working on this video for probably 2 to 3 months, doing a bunch of searching and utilizing different types of resource material and being online because I wanted to make sure I had accurate information for you. And I also wanted to make sure that I had the pertinent things that I needed to for this presentation. So the day that Uvalde happened with those children and the two teachers that were shot, 22 in all, I was pretty steaming that day, and I was just going to rush right into doing this video. Then I got thinking I need to kind of slow down a little bit because I want to make sure that this comes from the right direction. So I want to first of all let you know that what I've got is some slides here that you're going to be able to see the video, so you'll be able to see it visually versus just seeing me talking about it. But as I said, I have really this is something I've really been wanting to put together. Here's one of the reasons why. I know there are a lot of folks that are looking at moving here to Lake Chapala. And I know they're coming from the States. I know they're coming from Canada. But I also know there is well-meaning individuals that have a stake in your life, I guess I should say. And it's real easy to get swayed one way or another, whether you come or not. We kept on hearing about, don't you know, there's the cartel there and there's crime every day. And don't you know, I mean, those places, why leave the United States? Why do you need to go to Mexico? Why don't you just go for a vacation, come back? So a lot of well-meaning people. But there's those of you that have done some real research like Barbara and I did before we even came here. So what I'm going to do is share some points with you about crime in our world, and then comparing that with what takes place here at Lake Chapala, Mexico. So the very first thing I wanted to let you know is as a Christian believer and a man of faith, I know and fully understand that we can't escape crime. It takes place in every corner in our world. We live in a broken, sick, and selfish society. It is wise to be cautious no matter where you choose to live in the world. The sole purpose of this video is to provide you with some facts and statistics to better educate you, bringing about an awareness as it relates to crime and your interest in moving here to Lake Chapala. My Bible tells me that things are not going to be getting better, but we still can choose a place that provides us with relaxed atmosphere, the ability to unplug and unwind, and live in a peaceful place. Here, we are surrounded by and enjoy the tranquility that comes from living by Lake Chapala, where you can breathe crisp, clean air, enjoy blue skies, and live in the number 2 best climate in the world, Lake Chapala, Mexico. So, in this slide, what I'm sharing with you is talking about the crime and the statistic of numbers. Now, I do want you to know that I went in and probably came up with about three in total place of statistics. And what I ended up doing was taking the statistic that was the less in numbers. So in other words, I didn't take the numbers necessarily that were the highest of the 3 sites I was on. I took the lowest number. So I want you to know that things, in fact, can change, and these numbers could be on the low side. But I want to give you some comparison of what's taking place here at Lake Chapala. So let's talk about gun crime, because it's been something that's been hot issue in the last few months and the last years. So in looking at gun crime per 100,000 residents, you're 19 times more likely to be involved in a gun crime, which is a total of 1,987.8 per 100,000 residents, whereas in Mexico it's 105.2. So here's what I'm saying. In the United States, per 100,000 residents, the numbers are 1,987.8. In Mexico, it's 105.2. That is amazing. Here at Lake Chapala, the last murder that I could find, and I did a lot of searching, was a drug purchase related crime where there was a shooting and a death. Okay, let's go ahead and move on now with violent crime. Per 100,000 residents, you are 140 times more likely to be shot in the United States, which is ranked number one across the world. Not just in the Western Hemisphere, in the world. U.S. is number one. Mexico is ranked at number 104. Violent crimes per 100,000 residents. You are 140 times more likely to be shot in the U.S. than you are in Mexico. Amazing numbers. Lake Chapala, again, last murder, last violent crime, 2018, and again, a drug purchase related incident. Let's look at rapes. Per 1 million people, you're 92 times more likely to be raped in the U.S., which reports per million people 11,874.4 rapes per 1 million people. In Mexico, it's 127.8. At Lake Chapala is 0. I couldn't find a rape listed even in any kind of statistics for here at Lake Chapala. So, in the United States, which is ranked 4th when it comes to rapes in the world, Mexico is ranked 88th. Again, more likely to have that happen in the States by far than in Mexico. Taking a look now at murder. The murder rate per 1 million people, you are 7 times more likely in the U.S. to be murdered. Per 1 million, it's 2,089.6 murders per million people. Mexico's murder rate is 42.1 per million people. What a difference. 289.6 per million, 289, and Mexico's only 42. That blew my mind when I saw that. In fact, I want to say the highest number that was in the 3 I was looking for was around 60. It was like 57, 56 point something. So 42.1 million per people. Lake Chapala, the last murder that was recorded was in 2018. That's 4 years ago. And again, it was drug related. Now, let's take a look at your chances of being burglarized, carjacked, robbed, raped, shot, or murdered per 100,000 residents. Now, I've just chosen some cities here and tried to choose kind of going across the country mostly. And these are some staggering numbers. In Michigan, there are 2,082 burglarizations, carjacked, robbed, raped, shot, or murdered per 100,000 residents. That means that in those incidents, 1 in 32 times likely to have one of those happen, one of those 6 happen in your life. Memphis is 2,057 occurrences of burglarization, carjacking, robbed, raped, shot, murdered, 2,057 per 100,000 residents. You are 1 in 33 the chance of having that happen to you. It's amazing. When you go down, look at Little Rock, Arkansas. Now, these are not Little Rock, Arkansas, Birmingham, Alabama, St. Louis, Missouri, Stockton, California. I mean, would you think of these places as being where there's a lot of gang activity, where there's a lot of violence? Little Rock, Arkansas, they've got 196,000, basically 197,000 residents. But in Arkansas, the number of per 100,000 residents and a crime being committed is 1,557. So you are 1 in 36 a chance of being involved in a burglary, carjacking, robbed, raped, shot, or murdered. When I saw these numbers, I really wanted to make sure I got something that was going to be very, very sound. And I've got to tell you, that is absolutely amazing. Now, what I want to do is I want to go just below, and there's some numbers I did. So, because of the example that Memphis, Tennessee was second on this list, it's not second in the country, but second on this list. Even though there is high crime, in 2021, 13,234 people moved to Memphis, Tennessee. 13,000. Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. There are 2,027 crimes done within 100,000 people, but yet in the last 3 years, 116,040 people have moved to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Unbelievable. Since 2021, there have been 20,004 people moved to Baltimore, Maryland. Kansas City, although Kansas City is shown here as having 1,634 incidents of violent crime per 100,000 residents, Kansas City grew over the last 3 years by 40,502. Unbelievable. Crime taking place in these states that we live at in America that people are continually pouring into. Cleveland has grown by 18% over the last 5 years. Cleveland, Ohio. Stockton grew by 30,000 residents since 2020. St. Louis grew by 7,000 people since 2020. Well, friend of mine, viewer, subscriber, these are some incredible numbers when I really started looking at this. I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. So let's look at what's happening today. Look at these pictures. We know that just recently in Uvalde there was a mass shooting. And I will tell you from the information that I took, it's really sad that it happened in the way it happened. And so we now, if you've been online, if you've been watching TV at all, if you have listened to the radio, if you have anywhere that you get your information, what you're seeing here is some scenes that are pretty grim when it comes to gun violence at schools. Schools we're talking about. Absolutely unbelievable. What I want to share with you here is I'm going to share some numbers that I came across that I thought were pretty informative. In 2019, there was 549 incidents of gunfire on school grounds. 347 were at elementary, middle school, or high school. There were 129 deaths. Remember, 549 incidents, 129 deaths, 270 that were wounded, and 208 students were actually wounded. In 21 weeks, and this was actually, I want to say it was 3 weeks ago, in 21 weeks there were 213 mass shootings, averaging 10 a week. Since this last April, there have been 66 mass shootings, 75 dead, 271 have been wounded. When it comes to children, there were over 4,000 children ages 0 to 19 shot and killed in America. 15,000 shot and wounded annually. 58% of the shooters associated with school shootings is either a student, a staff, a faculty, or a current or past student. 70% of the mass shootings at schools has been white males. 73 to 80% of school shootings obtain guns from homes of their own, a relative, or a friend. 77% of school shootings, at least one person knew about the gunman's plans. That is unbelievable. There was at least one person knew that somebody was going to carry out and go shoot somebody up. 100% of those individuals exhibited warning signs. 4.6 million children in the U.S. live in a home with at least one unlocked and loaded firearm. 2 out of 9 people looking for a firearm are people who would fail a background check. Between 2005 and 2006, 40% of American public schools literally have now instituted events of drills. Teachers were actually surveyed, 1,000 teachers. 60% of them said that they worried about mass shootings at their school. Gun violent incidents. One of the most popular weapons is an AR-15. Folks, I'm sharing here with you numbers of what's taking place in our country. Now let's look at employees. 54% of surveyed said their building management weren't taking the steps to keep the workplace safe. In 2019, surveyed of 32,000 employees, 76% did not feel supported for safety in their work environment. Now, on this slide here, what I'm showing you is the National Conference of State Legislatures. And friend, this is just as of 5:30, so this is as of just a few weeks ago, or 2 weeks ago. They are now allowing employees on K through 12 school grounds carry guns. So anyone with permission from the school authority in these states can carry a weapon. Next, these are states that school security is now allowed to carry a firearm. Just below that, these states are approving concealed carry license holders too. Anyone with a CC permit alone in Alabama, Oregon, or Utah can carry a concealed arm. In concealed carry permit and permission from school authority, Idaho, Indiana, Missouri, and Oklahoma can, in fact, carry a firearm. The diagram there says each day 12 children die from gun violence in America. Folks, that is actually over 4,000 a year. And it says another 32 are shot and injured. Looking at workplace violence, physical assaults directed towards persons at work or on duty sharply on the rise. The impact of workplace violence ranges from psychological issues, physical injury, or even death. A poll done in 2021 surveyed stated 68% of those employed do not feel safe at work. 75% of those polled stated they'd rather work remotely. And the CEO of Goldman Sachs, which is an investment firm, stated that a large number of their employees don't feel safe coming to work. Folks, that is what's taking place in our country. And that's pretty dismal when I started looking at this. Now what I want to do is I want to share with you what's happening at Lake Chapala. There were a questionnaire. It was 4 questions done in February of 2020. Found that 95% of the expat community respondents felt that Lake Chapala is a safe place to live. The vast majority say they take routine precautions, protect themselves and their property as they would anywhere else. So there are at least two groups who try to see it that crimes against expats and other Americans in the Ajijic and Lake Chapala area are as low as possible. 1, people who work for expats. 2, local governments and communities at Lake Chapala. Now, why is that? Because the expat community brings in $500 million annually of revenue that's generated by the high number of expat living here at Lake Chapala. Both benefit from expats, but organized crime, which sells little to expats, but realizes that crimes against expats would bring in investigations from the U.S. and or Canadian government, which are serious problems for the cartels. Now, as I mentioned to you, I've been working on this now for, I want to say 2 months, 2 if not 3 months. Because as I mentioned, I know that there are well-meaning individuals that have your interests at heart. But what I'm sharing here with you is the decision ultimately comes up to you. So the question is, you can see the beauty at Lake Chapala and Ajijic, the sunrises, the sundowns, the beauty of where we get to live, the culture, the colors, fruits and vegetables in great supply. We're talking about out shopping, walking, enjoying, or even talking about the beauty of actually living here again at Lake Chapala. Friend, I really hope that this has helped you in regards to your decision making when it comes to an interest in moving to Lake Chapala. Literally, as you could see the numbers, it's very shocking, very shocking. But I'll leave the search up to you. If you'd like to live in a beautiful place, beautiful, then you're making a great decision looking at Lake Chapala. And I encourage you to make that move, like a whole bunch of other expats have. But make sure you do also your due diligence. So with that, if you haven't already, I'd like to encourage you to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. It's fast, free, and easy to do. On the bottom right-hand corner, there's a red box. You can tap on it, and you're subscribed. Give us a thumbs up. Let other people know it's a great video to watch. Stop by, say hi, ask a question, or go ahead and ask for a video you'd like to see. Also, make sure that you hit the bell. That way you'll be immediately notified when the next video comes out. So with that, as always, thank you so much for being a part of this video. Have an awesome day, and we'll see you on the next video.